For your assignment, you are going to start by creating a logo. And I would recommend that you do it on a piece of paper first, and then do it in Canvas. Just because it'll help you with those starting and ending points. And the one that I ended up creating was this little kite. And again, I did do it on paper first, because I think that is way easier than just doing a bunch of guesses as far as how you want to place things on the canvas. It'll take you less time to draw it out on paper first than it would be to make guesses. So you do need to have at least one circle or a curve, a rectangle and a triangle. They can be filled or stroked. You should have at least one of your objects, shapes filled with color. And you should increase the stroke width of one of the shapes. And then you're going to save this thing as logo.html. So this is my example. I do not want you guys to create this. You are going to be creating your own. But this shows you how I did create it. And you can see that when I got to the part where I was creating rings, it's basically just duplicating code and changing the position of those circles. Here's how I changed the width of the line. Okay, there's the color, and then it was stroked. This is how I did the text. And there are tons and tons of examples in the lecture notes. Plus, there's links to W3 Schools where you can practice all of this. Okay, and then if you don't see a link to W3 Schools, this is something that I came up with. So here is another little example, and you can see it's not really an absolute perfect heart, but after you work with this a little bit, if you can get something that's this close, I would go with it, because this is not super easy to use. This is kind of cool. So if you wanted to do like a little variation of this, maybe with a couple little more ghosties and colored in, different size, that would be okay. This is all of the code that was used for that. Okay, but as I said, you guys need to come up with kind of your own thing. And if you like one of these, I would utilize some of that code, but you do need to change it and make it your own. So that's your first exercise. The second exercise, you're actually going to store 4 pieces of information, so I need to fix that. And the form is going to be kind of similar to this. Okay, and you can have lots more in your form. Okay, but 4 pieces of information do need to be stored in local storage. Okay, and so if we take a look here, you can tell I'm bringing in a Google font. I just threw my CSS right in here so you guys could see it. When you submit, you are going to submit to the confirmation page. Okay, and so here's how I did my little form. Here is all of the JavaScript. So basically, I've got first name, last name, email, and phone that I'm saving to local storage. And you can see I'm retrieving the data directly from the form, putting it in there. And then I am going to confirmation page. So that's pretty much how that works. And you do need to have a confirmation page that basically reads this information and displays it back. Okay, so that is how it is displaying that information back. Okay, and again, it's almost the exact same thing as the original. I just pretty much took out the form and labeled a little section here for the data to display. And I'm basically checking local storage to see if first name is there. And if it is, I'm storing it. Same with last name, email, all that kind of fun stuff. I am doing some messing around with the phone number so that I can make it look good. So I'm substringing in first 3 characters, then that becomes your area code. Then I'm getting the next 3, and finally the end. And then I kind of format that all together for the phone display. And in case they got to this page by accident, I am checking to make sure that, phone, email, first and last are filled in, because if they're not, I'm going to redirect to the initial form because they have to fill it in. Otherwise, as long as those are not blank, I am displaying the little message that you saw. So you guys are going to do something very similar. Okay, and so you are going to do this for local storage first. Okay, so you're going to save it as local form. Your JavaScript is local form JS, and you'll have a local confirm. Once you have this working, then you're going to do the same thing for session. And again, it's going to be 4 pieces of information, not 2. So basically, you can just copy the local form, your JavaScript, and your confirm, and just kind of rename them with session in front. And then you're just going to modify the code to use session variables instead of local variables. And if you remember, that's just a matter of changing the word local to session. That's it. That's all you have to do. So if you change that, you're going to need to change it in the form and also in the confirmation page. Okay, so this is going to be called session form. And everywhere that you see local, you're going to put in session, and also in your confirmation, you have to do the same thing. Okay, but that's pretty much it for that 3rd exercise. I don't think you guys are going to have a problem with that. The 4th exercise, you're going to find and use a simple API, and I would emphasize simple. So I would not spend a whole bunch of time for this. You cannot use Google Fonts for this. You can use the Google Maps, especially if you're not comfortable registering, because in order to get a key, you pretty much have to register. And I did give you several examples. And if you have something else you're interested in, by all means, go ahead and go off on your own and do your own API. Once you're done with all of that, you're going to link everything in the logo, the local form, session form, and your API. All I need is the local form and the session form. You do not need to link in the JavaScript or the confirmation pages, because I should be able to get to those from the forms. If you run into problems, make sure you've got the pages live online so I can take a look at them. And with the logo, I'm going to tell you it's just going to be trial and error as far as, getting it to look right. And so I would try to keep your designs fairly simple. If you run into problems, have questions, let me know.